I'm really curious to see how this matchup in the mid lane will go, especially because if you were to go back a year, 2 years ago, if you had said Peke and Ryu going up against each other was in a matchup, that would instantly be the feature highlight. That would be what everyone would be looking towards. I want to see if both these guys still got it. We've seen Ryu stepping up a lot more. We saw that a lot in the playoffs, a number of solo kills, and of course, everybody knows Peke. Everybody knows what he's capable of. I want to see how this matchup goes in the mid. But I know you want to talk a little bit about the bot lane.
Yeah, but I want to reiterate on your point, one short sentence here. I do know that you will never rule out X-Peke again, because I did that once. I did it before Worlds. I was like, yeah, X-Peke, he's all right, you know, but he isn't his former self. And then he showed up to basically destroy some mid lanes in that World Championship. Yep. And it was fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, you've heard from us. What do you guys think? Do you think Origin's going to take this one, or H2K? You know what to do. At LOL Esports is the handle. Hashtag OG win or H2K win. And we are starting up on the Rift.
But you were right, though. I really like these two bot lanes because I respect Kasing and mifI as supports a lot, because they're both really strong in lane as well as out of lane. It's going to be interesting if they choose to go for the 2v2. I think both lanes have something that speaks for 2v2 and against it. You kind of don't want to let the Vayne free farming. At the same time, it's double range against double range, and that's always an interesting matchup to see, because it's less all-in heavy, it's more poke heavy.
Absolutely. We'll see how this game starts off the board. So, everything looks relatively normal. Line of scrimmage to start things off. So no shenanigans for either of those teams just yet. Ryu does take a little bit of damage from mifI. So we have a little bit of switch around there. mifI's subbing in middle for a second for X-Peke, who's waiting in this brush for Kasing.
Let's see if he takes some damage there.
Fnatic Janet versus Peke.
Oh, tribute to the king.
Yeah. There we go.
I think that shield was late.
Just a little
Actually
bit.
Took the damage. Sports at 4 portion. Who cares anyways?
Hey, it's all about forcing little edges.
Little edges indeed.
Damage adds up, Crepo.
Yeah, it does indeed. That's true. Looking at the jungle pick for Amazing here, Gragas, we've seen some Gragas players get creative with their roots. Either clear one side, 3 camps, 2 camps, and then get a nice little cheesy early gank on one of the sides of mid lane and top lane. Let's see if Amazing goes for that. Or go for this full clear. Or, third option, he wants to punish perhaps Lulex in jungle, because Evelynn goes pretty low on first clear.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, early on in the game, at the very first clear, that's like when you can usually predict where jungler's going to be going. They've also got a couple of deep wards. You see Origin popping down one over by the red side, or the red buff, rather, of H2K. And since nobody's going to be there, they know what side of the map Evelynn's starting on.
Yeah, and it looks like the lane swap is predicted here. I don't know who initiated it or who called it, but both teams are heading up in the top lane. No camps. I really like watching laning phases like this without camps. This should give the push advantage to Sivir, though. There's no way Annie and Vayne can clear that without a camp. They basically want to poke back and let the lane push back as far as they can, because if they challenge the push, they will only get in more troubles later. I almost feel like Hjarn's over-pushing a little bit. I think Niels is happy with this.
Yeah, I think Niels will definitely be happy with the way this has started. He also was able to get a little bit of damage onto Hjarn to start this one off. It's just going to be so hard to push against the Sivir in general, especially sped up by a Janna. mifI steps forward. He takes a whole heaping helping of damage. He should be okay for now. He's just nibbling away at the biscuits.
Yeah, trading damage on... Ooh, that's a good trade. Trading damage on support, on the AD carry, and taking damage on support is definitely what you want. You know, support has way more sustain than an enemy AD carry. The lane's pushing in here. Niels we'll have to see how well Niels farms under tower, because you're always playing under pressure, right? But we'll see how this turns out later. Let's take an eye and see how the rest of the map is going.
Yeah, so while this one gets a little bit more normal, we'll set it up in the mid lane where Peke and Ryu have already been trying to duke each other out here. Level 3 for Peke. He's pushing a wave into Ryu, and you know, this is going to be the rough start for Kassadin. He's always going to have a little bit more trouble to start things off, but he is still keeping up with the damage. Amazing, looking around the side, see if he stops to clear Crab. It looks like he will, and of course, Lulex is on his back right now, so no jungle help going to come to this mid lane just yet. The bottom lane continues to be a wet noodle fight. Yeah,
you see Amazing there, very healthy after clearing his jungle and the Crab, and he can immediately move in, whereas Lulex on Evelynn was forced to base and come back in. If Amazing reads this properly, he might be able to spot Lulex in the jungle or go for a dive here.
Looks like that might be chosen strat. Peke waits, there it goes! It's going to be Ryu forced to burn his flash. Ignite taking away his health, but he should stay alive through that one.
I think the body slam missed by an inch. The damage didn't carry over, and otherwise Ryu would have been dead. This was really, really close, guys.
And you know, it was really nice bait, too, from Peke. He backs away, and it just, oh no, it's okay, nothing's really happening. Nothing's really happening at all. And he doesn't really vary his style much to do it. He just backed away as if he was done, and he was going to head to base. Now Lulex has found Amazing.
Yeah, he has the information. Amazing has no idea that it's spotted. He sees the ward fade. This is really big. Now Amazing knows that every action was happening with the knowledge of H2K, so that means however people reacted, that was with, they knew where he was. But in the bot lane, Soaz is turning on the Flame Sweeper.
Yep, he does turn that one on. As everybody who's played Pokemon knows, fire is strong against grass.
Yes.
So are towers, apparently. That one, I don't expect too much action to happen down there for a while until the teams really want to start looking at Dragon, but since we have the dual lane swap happening, I think it probably is going to take a while before that happens. We'll see. Teleport spent down to the bottom. Odoamne gets back to base after picking up another Doran's. Lulex now on a roam upriver. Take a look at what they do together, but also let's take a look back to mid because there's a massive CS differential. We said Kasten has a rough laning phase, and Peke is making it rougher.
Yeah, while the gank wasn't successful, it did mean a lot of pressure on Ryu here, but Lulex, he's hiding in the bush. Will Neil spot that in time? I don't think so.
They're trying to make it look very easy for Niels to push forward, but I think he knows something's up. He's going to check really close. So Lulex Mithy's the one who does it. Hate spikes flying. The Kadem against the wall will stop the Evelyn for the time being as Niels returns fire onto Kasing.
Yeah, and this is where it all becomes really rough. You don't want to change like the pattern you have been laning in so far, because if you suddenly start playing differently, good players will obviously smell the gank. That's why H2K was leaning back a lot, but that results then when Miffy checks a brush, not too much damage goes on Kasing here.
Yeah. Speaking of smelling the gank, Ryu knows exactly what's up. He saw Amazing in the
gets
sights. Arnon, he's stunned up. Spell Shield comes in too late. He has to flash his Ignite. Meanwhile, back to the middle. Ryu, oh so low. He finally burns down. It's Amazing who gets the kill and barely gets out alive. Body slam back to tower.
Yeah, really good aggression here from OG. They managed to stun Yawnen there before his spell shit pops, get the ignite up before the heal, reduces, forces the flash in turn, and now they can push in this lane. And Niels, while he was down in CS earlier, he will deny so many creeps here, and this is really crucial. Origen is playing this very well.
They are indeed. Now Odoamne looks to check in onto Soaz. Doesn't really find too much damage. Lulex inbound as well to help Odoamne out. Soaz got to know something's up now, and they're looking for a revenge kill after the first blood. Flash for Flash, but Lulex wasn't on the same page he is now. He goes in, and he picks up the kill while Odoamne takes the tower.
And I think this is definitely the right lane for Odoamne, for Lulex to gank rather. Having the Twisted Advance on Maokai allows you to actually lock a target down. However, when we saw earlier, he was ganking a double range lane without any hearts to see on his side, and we talked about it earlier, Pyra, in Champs. Like, Janna doesn't have much engage potential, right? And that really didn't work out. But let's see that mid lane gank again. Good chain from Peke. No more flash on Ryu. Body slam and a barrel, and then yeah, he just drops dead.
Slowly fading away. Nice pickup in the mid lane, and we might see part 2 in just a moment. Peke backs away, avoids the Force Pulse.
Too bad you can't avoid the Force Pulse.
Nah. Not when he's right next to you.
Exactly.
Amazing and Mithy now.
They've swapped the lanes back up. Apparently.
Yeah. This is. I feel like this is just to get the Dragon control back in their favor. And they're saying that they're confident Soaz can keep Yarnan off this tower. Look at the damage from that Flame Spitter. Yarnan had no mana to really return fire on that.
Yeah, he has no summoners either, so he has to be very careful. Origen is playing this really well. Their resource memory is really good, but here's Odoamne.
Yep, he zooms on in. Beeline towards Mithy. Amazing now having to body slam away, but now Niels is here, and H2K are turning and running. Yarnan, meanwhile, is burning away as Soaz outplays him in the 1v1. H2K in full retreat as Peke jumps over the wall. They decide to turn their attention to blue. Origen, they're doing everything right all across the map.
Yeah, we said this earlier in the pregame. We want Origen to be more aggressive. If they play the same passive style, H2K from the 10 to 20 minute mark, they'll get ahead. But Origen, they got their foot on the gas pedal, and they're so far ahead already.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. It all started with a big equalizer, and Soaz kept on chasing.
Yeah, just solid play. And this reiterates that at the highest level, kills are often a two-step process. One, forcing the gank and the pressure to blow the summers, and then returning to finish your job. Amazing did it first. Got rid of Rio's flash in the middle lane, came around again, killed him. On the top lane, Niels and Miffy with a really good stun on Yarnan forced the flash and the summoner, and Soaz, because we're tracking cooldowns on the highest level here, he knew that, turned on the equalizer and basically just roasted Yarnan.
Absolutely. Completely cooked him alive, and speaking of cooking alive, Ryu is starting to feel the heat from Peke. Seriously down in this match in CS, 25 separating these two, and it's been a lot of jungle pressure. Ryu has still not picked up a Catalyst.
Yeah, he's very far behind. At the same time, Yarden was forced to go for pickaxe as well. In a Vayne matchup, that's exactly what you want as a Vayne. You don't want to let the enemy AD carry get a B of sword because you have this weird Cutlass build that gives you a lot of lifesteal and attack speed, but doesn't give you much raw damage. So in terms of one auto attack trades, you lose out a lot if the enemy has a BF. But if it's just a pickaxe, you can sustain that up. We saw that yesterday as well in a Rocket matchup where Woolite had his pickaxe and he was facing a Vamp Scepter on the other side, and he couldn't widen the gap anymore. And this is really good for Origin's bot lane right now.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. And you know, we talk about H2K and what they do from 10 to 20 minutes, but Origin's not keen on letting it be an even playing field by the time it gets to that point. We're not quite at that 10-minute mark. Mithy now roaming down to the bottom side. He's spotted by Otawamne, who's a little slow to react, but that's because Yarden on the hunt, coming on in, and now Otawamne chases in, throws down the Twisted Advance, and the Maelstrom. They're looking for Mithy, but it stuns up. Yarden will find it with a Boomerang and kneels all by himself. The hate spikes were flying, the poison was ticking, wasn't quite enough, and Lulex goes down, courtesy of the tower.
This is the third time I've seen H2K be a little hesitant on following up on each other. They didn't know Lulex was going for the dive. If we go back to the Rio play yesterday, Otawamne was a little hesitant. Go back to earlier when they killed Rumble as well. Otawamne was a little hesitant there as well. H2K is not fully in sync yet.
Oh, they are not. Origin, on the other hand, fully working like a well-oiled machine. 10.5 minutes on the clock. They've already amassed themselves their first dragon and a few hundred gold in the lead. Not too shabby.
Gold lead went down to 500 from 1,000 earlier. But, Soaz is looking for a little gank here. Peck is warming up. Otawamne spots it though.
He knows exactly what's up.
I don't think he knows.
Now he does.
Yeah.
There's the sapling. Ooh, face checks.
Brave sacrifice.
It is important to remember the sacrifices of the saplings.
Indeed it is.
And the scuttle crabs.
And the scuttle crabs.
That's a story for another time.
Poor scuttle crabs. Alright, so the bot lane's pushing out. Amazing coming in. He's going to spot that pink ward, clear it. So that's good for pressure. They want to find Lulex. Origin wants to know where Evelyn is, and then they can make calculated plays. Some aggression going on in the mid lane. Basic trade. Peke taking the better of that one.
Looked for a moment like it wasn't going to go that way, but Peke has consistently been on the up and up versus Ryu. Lulex now going to find amazing over by the blue. Wow. That's one game of chicken.
Yeah, but the chicken's invisible, so Amazing's losing out on information here.
Going to go back in for a little bit more, see if he can find something. The Gromp started up by Yarden and Kasing. They back away as the ward goes down, so now he's just trying to heckle H2K's bot lane as Niels and Mithy continue to push up.
Yeah, level 6 on Mithy. He has Tibbers prompted and ready. A good spell shield will be needed, or otherwise it's going to get real ugly.
It's 3v3, but Origin don't quite know it yet. Tower, however, going very, very low. The mini wave is going to be cleared out. Kasing helps push Niels back, and they will take the safe play. For now, Ryu, not quite too much damage on him, but Peke goes back in for round number 2. Lands the chains, but there's the Rift Wall.
See, but you say they don't know it, but it's likely to expect that Lulex is going to be hovering around that bot lane, because Amazing spend a lot of time there. Top lane's really not gankable. Mid lane's really hard to gank, so it's very likely that Evelyn's are down in the bot lane.
Right, and you know, when you've played as many games as these guys, you've got to have that game sense available to know when that's happening. These guys definitely have it now. A teleport for Soaz. Lulex is going to spot that one up. As Amazing throws out the big barrel. They were looking for Yarden, but he threw down the spell shield and equalizer. Massive Tibbers as well. They found it. The Monsoon will keep Lulex alive. Just barely, but Niels finds one. Can he do another? Condemn against the wall.
Here's Soaz.
Double kill. Soaz looking for more. Turns tail and runs. However, the tower was there. They forsook him, and it was a 2-for-1.
And this is why I think Mithy's such a good player. Really clutch 2-man Tibbers, basically securing the kills for Origin here, and then a little bit too deep under the tier 2 tower. But you know, that happens.
Yeah, that's okay. Sometimes you can get a little bit too aggro. So in the end, they trade 2-4-1. Origin now, decent job in the bottom. Yes, and importantly, the tower.
They're definitely sitting on 1 tower here, 1 dragon against H2K's 1 tower, 0 dragons. They have a 2,000 gold lead here, and they're scaling into the mid game. And you mentioned it earlier. They definitely want to spike and get a lot of, make use of how much damage they have in the mid game and see if they can translate that in objectives. Let's see again. Lulex knows the TP is coming. He's basically hovering in between Gragas and Rumble to not get spotted. Yarden, good spell shield. Kasing's going out. They can't disengage, and look at that Tibbers. Soaz basically burning them alive. Kasing turns around Rumble with his ultimate, but it's not enough.
Yeah, honestly, that Monsoon is pretty much the only reason that wasn't a triple kill for Vayne right there.
Yeah, I think the Monsoon could have been a little earlier. Ryu picks up a kill, and that's pretty good for H2K then, though. If you want to kill on one person on H2K, it is definitely on Cassin. He is the carry of this team. Sivir is a utility AD carry. Maokai, Peel, tank, engage. Definitely all the damage in the late game fights is coming from Ryu.
Yeah, I mean, anything I can get for him is great, because at this point he's still behind 45 CS. Peke has just been giving him a hell of a time this game. They'll finally grab a little bit more back, but now Origen can turn their full attention to this mid lane.
And yeah, while I was always praising mphy for being such a good laner back in the day when I was playing against him in the LCS, right now, he's just playing... He's roaming so much. He hasn't been in lane at all. He's showing up left and right and basically facilitating the engage and making sure Lulex can't get into that river like he wants to.
Speaking of the river, Soaz and Peke are coming from that. They target Kasing, half his health is gone. Meanwhile, the rest of Origen over at the Dragon, they've got Scuttle Crab Shrine, and it is an easy take for them. But H2K are pushing on the top in response. Yeah.
Every time we talk about this, objective gets taken on one side of the map, you want to look for what they call the cross-map objective, but H2K might not be in time because they're getting greedy. They want the tower and the blue buff.
Yeah, they do. They've left Odoamne to just push this one, but the rest of Origen should be able to come back and push him off in time. Ryu secures that blue buff. Lulex is there as well, but they don't have enough firepower to polish it off, so in the end, Origen come out ahead here. They've got themselves 2,000 gold in the lead.
They did steal the Bonk's blue buff, and that might give him Ryu just that little bit of breathing room he needs to get into the mid to late game.
But Origen are already here on the other blue buff side. Amazing has started this one off. The thing is, can Peke really get there in time if Ryu wants to contest this? I don't think they really know this is happening just yet because they're not making moves for it.
Yeah, if the buff resets a couple of times, then Peke can pick it up. Good guy, amazing. Using those game mechanics to stall it out.
So in the end, they trade that one. Yeah, Origen really not giving much up for what they're taking here. H2K aren't incredibly behind, but this is traditionally the point of the game when they're at their strongest. And right now, they're barely keeping even.
Let's give it a couple more minutes. H2K usually spikes from 15 to 20 minutes pretty hard as well. We've been tracking those stats. It'll be rough because there's a lot of pressure coming out of Origen. They only have one tank, remember. If one fight goes badly, it can go badly really quickly, especially with Sivir being, providing so much speed.
See what they do here. Again, mid lane focus can be where they go after this because Kasing and Yarnan are hell-bent on pushing in this bottom tower. They've got a decent-sized minion wave at their backs. Odoamne continuing to keep it pushing for H2K on the top as well. That will allow H2K to then direct their attention towards the mid, but they're pinging for help already. They know that tower's days are numbered.
Yeah, just some deep vision coming in from mphy here. They basically want to surround the mid lane with vision on both flanks so they can safely push in this tower. Getting this tower will mean a lot for Origen because it will open up the map and allow them to roam and make more picks.
Secure it up, no problem. Meanwhile, up on the top, Odoamne's going to flash, but he's still stunned up by mphy. Niels chasing him down, and he should be able to secure it as Amazing had him locked up. Meanwhile, back to the mid, Peke goes in, Lulex goes down, but so does Peke. There were way too many members of H2K there.
Yeah, and going back on that top lane play, really smart by mphy. He sends out the Annie Q that will follow its target regardless whether it flashes or not, and then land a stun. If you Tibbers, it can get dodged. If you use a W, it can get dodged. But if you just wait for the Q to connect, then you can guarantee the CC, but they're going out of mid lane.
Speaking of Tibbers, Yarnan, the rest of the team took a lot of it. Spell Shield will keep him alive for a few more moments, but Soaz is still able to burn him down.
Poor Yarnan, his flash is almost up. He could have maybe escaped that if he had his flash, but good cooldown tracking and good aggression from Origen. I said this before, I really want him to get more aggressive against H2K. Don't play that slow passive style, and they're doing it perfectly so far.
And counter-aggressive too. They knew that H2K was going to push after they took Peke down in that mid. They were very prompt to react to it. So far, yes, they've given up a couple of towers. That one on the bottom really didn't matter too much for them because now they have a bit of a free farm lane. Peke's going to be able to clean that one up.
Odoamne just picking up some CS here. H2K basically all base. They're coming out of the base, seeing what they're going to do on the map. And it's getting rough. So much pressure coming out of Origen.
The longer the game goes on, though, for H2K, in the mid lane especially, Ryu will start to look better and better, and Peke will start to be a little bit less relevant, but there's still a long time before that happens, and as you mentioned, they really only have one true tank, so Peke just can continue to try and pick people off, and it'll get pretty scary for a while for H2K. I feel like they have to, while they are playing well and aggressive, they have to respect that.
Yeah, they have to be really scared for a lot of picks. At the same time, Niels is farming up a Storm. 157 CS, 4 kills. Blade of the Ruined King, Zeal, Boots. And yeah, Cloak finished already. He's going to be so strong so quickly.
It's not something Yarnin will be able to match very well at all. They really need a wombo combo to try and take that. But again, if they check too heavy into Origin, there's always that threat of the Tibbers. And then it has been, as we've seen, Neil's just cleaning house.
Yeah, a lot of threats on Origin. The Rumble. Look at Soas. He always has Leandris finished with the Sword Shoes. He does a lot of damage. Niels does a lot of damage. Pekka does a lot of damage. Even Miffy does a lot of damage for support. Yeah. Damage everywhere.
Tower goes down. There's an equalizer. Lulex is going to have to move away, and Peke has him in his sights. Can he pick him off? The wild chase through the jungle commences. The hate spikes will do nothing to Peke, as after the chains hit, it was all over.
Yeah, and they see Cassin on the bot line desperate for some farm, but it leaves the rest of the map in a 4v5 and very little engage. And Origin has the freedom to play around because it's hard for H2K to catch Origin. The only person that can really do it is Odoamne, or they can group up with a Sivir. But in a man-down situation, Origin has the freedom to basically make enemies jungle their own.
That's exactly what they're doing. They utilize that jungle path to make moves towards the mid lane. Already Tower half the health down. They know Caston's in the area. They're trying to get out of there. There is the on the hunt. Odoamne, the chains do not connect on him from Peke, but the explosive cast will push them back. And now, up in the top, Niels continues the work, and they just keep haranguing this H2K squad.
A good disengage here. Ryu trying to get the slow on Peke, but he goes back in.
Wow, all right. Not sure if that was the best decision Peke has made today, but I don't think H2K really expected it. Meanwhile, Odoamne now targeted down. The tower is still doing some work, but Odo will finally evaporate. Niels jumped on by Lulex. Does he have the damage? Condemned against the wall. Yes, he does. Niels is unstoppable, and he gets some help from Mithy, while Soaz is chasing Ryu back. This tower should be gone.
Going down too.
So is Yarnin. Goodbye. Good night.
Fantastic kiting by Niels. He basically almost gets caught there, but he says, nope, the JPEG. He tumbles out, condemns into the wall, and basically kills them one by one because there's not enough damage on H2K's side.
And they just high-fived themselves into death. So now 4 members down. Origin are able to take that tower quite easily back. They can spend their gold. Speaking of, look at that difference, Crepo.
Oh, 7,000 gold all of a sudden. Origin is basically, their foot's on the gas pedal right now.
Absolutely. It's just insane what they've been able to do. Let's take a look at this. You're right.
They're going on Niels, he takes some damage, he's tanking. Tumbles upwards away from enemies. His only escape path is left now. Flashes out, Luix flashes after him. Tumbles for an angle on the Condemn, gets him into the wall, and Kasing just doesn't have the damage to follow up. He's not an Annie player. Double stun by Miffy, really vital there too. Keeping Kasing busy. Niels slices up with that Blaze of the Ruined King. Fantastic play.
And then Yarn just should never have been there at that point. So it was all over. So Origin, they go back, they spend that massive amount of gold they've got. They're setting up for Dragon here. Look at that difference between the mid laners. I wanted to touch on it once again because Ryu has just been effectively gimped on items this game. Now Peke in some trouble, but he's still LeBlanc. Should be able to get out. And now Niels is in. Oh, they just want to go for it.
He's confident.
Coming in from Soaz. They won't even need him right now as the rest of the team is there. 1, 2, and 3. They peel the bark off the tree and they can take Dragon for free.
Yeah, and this is why I love Xpeke as a player. He's getting chased by 2 players, right? And then he spots Evelyn, and instead of distorting out again, he says, nah, I'm just gonna chain you and walk away. He goes aggressive while being defensive, and that's a mark of a fantastic player like Xpeke. He doesn't just want to get out of there, he wants to trade efficient damage in the meanwhile, and this allows Niels to come in, Soaz with the teleport, and they clean up a fight where the other teams may have just ran.
Fantastic player and a fantastic score. 5-1-2 on the LeBlanc, 5-0-6 for the Vayne. And what does H2K have right now? A 1-1 Caston that has been starved for gold this entire game. It is not looking good for this team.
Yeah, you can say that much. I really wouldn't want to be in H2K's position right now. 16-4, 3 dragons, the makings of really good vision to bait the Baron, potentially just do the Baron. Origin in the driver's seat.
A lot of people ask the question, you know, Origin, they look really great on paper. They blazed through the Challenger Series last split, but they really were not tested so much. I feel like this game, in theory, was the test, but look at that goal difference versus time. Look at what they've done this game. It feels like they're still cruising at a speed that they control. Yeah,
they're definitely snowballing this game, and something I've noticed a lot about some of these players, they adapt to the level of their opponents. Miffy, you know, you meet him sometimes in solo queue, he doesn't take it all too serious, but once you face him against an actually really good support laner, good AD carry, he adapts to that level and he transcends and he plays so much better.
Does Miffy know how to play Bard?
Miffy does. He knows how to play any champion. He's really good.
That's a good answer.
But my Bard's better.
Okay. We'll see if he takes the challenge sometime later in this split. For meanwhile, Origin, they're setting up. we keep some vision on that Baron.
But look at Origin yesterday against Giants, and look at Origin today against the top 3 team in the European LCS Spring Split, H2K. They look much, much better.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, it's very spot on to say that they're playing to their opponents, because H2K are a fantastic squad. Giants, they made a lot more mistakes. H2K punished those kinds of mistakes very well. And Origin, they've just been very, very... they've shored up those holes in their play from yesterday. And I don't know if that's a one-off or if they're just really leveling up now, or if it is true they just play to the level of their opponents. But right now, they're not giving an inch to H2K, and this is where it's gotten them.
Yeah, Origin in prime position to go 2-0 in their opening week, and that's definitely what they want. They're new to the split, so if they want to make it to Worlds, they have to finish pretty much top 3, and well on track so far.
Number 1 would guarantee them that particular position, and I think that's what they're looking to shoot for. So far, a strong statement out of Origin. On the side of H2K, just scrambling to try and stay alive in this game. 3 Dragons to 0 is that scoreline. You take a look at the way the items are across the board, and it's just still painting a grim picture for H2K.
Yeah, because Sing is desperately trying to finish Mikhail's Crucible to get out of the CC, but at this point, it doesn't matter whether you break the CC, because the damage alone will just straight up kill your team.
Bluelex prowling around.
He needs to steal this.
He has to be able to, but he
scouting.
doesn't quite have flash up. He's going in. The Tibbers is on him. They turn their attention, and the solo mission is a failure. Baron is going down. Origin has everything, and they're back into base.
Yeah, without flash or added distraction from the other H2K members, it's very unlikely that EVE will just be allowed to walking, not against an Origin that's playing as well as they're playing today.
Not at all. Absolutely flawless performance from them. Soaz goes down to clear out the wave on bottom. H2K, they've got no pressure anywhere on the map, really. They maybe can use the top wave that they've got pushing Otoamne, trying to push this one out, but still, it's going to be a long time before they can do much against this squad.
Yeah, and Pekka's even picking up an Elixir here, because he's on 3 items already. Look at Ryu, Zhonya's and Rod of Ages compared to Ludzyko, Abyssal Scepter, and Morel and Omicron Sword Shoes. He just popped his Elixir. Pekka is making his lead even bigger with his short spike, and he uses that power, he invests that power to get even more gold and snowball his lead even farther. Origin is not sitting back. They want to drive this victory home in the next 7 minutes.
Yeah. One thing that you could say of a lot of teams in the lower parts of the bracket in the LCS, European LCS last split, was just that they had trouble closing games out. This is clearly not an Origin problem. They know what to do in this situation. They know how to take the lead.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But they're not done yet. You're right. It's not over yet, but they are knocking at the door.
Yeah, Vayne. When a Vayne is allowed to do that much tower on a single wave, you know you're in trouble. So super short range
when your jungler is just tanking the turret laser, yeah, you're definitely in trouble. So
they have to give this up.
They have to give the inhibitor up. It's just falling way too fast. Another minute and a half till the next dragon. Origin can easily stroll that direction whenever they want and leisurely pick it up as easy as possible. Ryu is health bar. Where'd it go? He has to go back to base at this point. I think this could be another inhibitor. Yeah,
Castle, traditionally the anti-mage gets dropped to 40% HP on a single combo from Xpeke here. This tower is likely going down. I think we'll see panicking Jake coming out from H2K once this tower hits 50% or something. They have to try something.
They do indeed. Baron buff still empowering those minions, so Origin can push just a little bit longer.
Look for the Righteous Glory Sivir ulti. If they're going to do something, it's right now.
Yeah, well, and there it goes. The Equalizer gets thrown down, though, and H2K's health bars are evaporating. A very big barrel separates H2K as Ryu throws down the Zhonya's. Desperation move onto Niels. It doesn't work. It's just not enough. And Origin, with 3 kills, will get another inhib and set their sights on the Nexus.
Again, fantastic caddy by Niels. Somehow, amongst all of that, he manages to stay alive, and Origin is looking to close out this game immediately. Teleport
on the Tibbers. Soaz says, I'm going to end this game in style. Clear through the last of the minions. Peke causing havoc to Yarnan in the back. They're looking to end it right now. And under 28 minutes, Origin have thundered to a 2-0 start in the LCS Summer Split.